It's the middle of the week, everybody. Happy hump day, as they say, on Geico commercials and more. Welcome to Daily Distinction. Really glad that you're here today. Just finished doing a really terrific podcast that won't be out until the spring of next year, but really had a great conversation with the folks from Worthix, which is really interesting. What they do is to take a look at what you're doing and to evaluate what is worthy of your time, investment, and effort in the customer experience and other aspects. So, gosh, what a great experience! What a great time I had with Mary Drummond of Worthix today. Really love it when there's a great interview and somebody's really prepared. So, thank you for being here, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on the replay. It's truly appreciated that you're here. A reminder before we get to the subject, and that is to make certain that if you'd like to hear more on standing out and delivering the ultimate customer experience, listen to Distinction Radio. All you have to do is say to your Amazon device, Alexa, play Distinction Radio, and it will start playing. And you can find that as well on your laptop or your desktop or your iPhone or Android, whatever you have. It's on all of them. Charles is here on YouTube. Hey, good to see you. Beautiful, sunny, chilly Silicon Valley. It is 54 in Vegas right now, Charles, so a little chilly here. Hey, Ted, always great to see you. Thank you. Looking forward to our conversation that's coming up a little bit later. Scott is in the house. How you doing, Scott? Hope all is great with you. It's always great seeing you. Brian, how are you? Oh, it says volume sounds low. I appreciate you telling me that. What in the world is going on here? Thank you for telling me, Scott. Let's see what's going on here. Give me just a second to figure this out, because my podcaster thing is not working properly. I don't know what's wrong here. It was good just a minute ago when I was doing the podcast. Sound, input. Well, how weird is that? This might be a little better, but it's not as good because for some reason we are not connected in the normal way that I am connected here. Well, this is how we know it's live. All right, let's see what happens if I plug this and so some. See what's big happened is I plug into has gotten disconnected, so it's just not working right. That is so weird. Okay, is that I'm not going to be able to get this fixed right now, so we'll figure out what's going on here. I was just on a podcast and it was working fine. So I don't know what the problem is. Everybody sound, yeah, I am. It's exactly what's happened, Jerry, because the mic is not working properly here. So when all else fails, reboot, right? Hey, Brian, good to see you. Thanks everybody for cluing me in on this. Let's plug this back in and see if that makes a difference. Hello, test. All right, hang on here just a second. When all else fails, reboot, like we said. And I will go up here and go to that. And we should be okay now, right? Thanks, Jerry. Yeah. Well, I had to get that fixed, so it should be okay now. I think the bars and everything here look like it's okay. So please let me know. We okay now? Let me go back to system preferences and go to sound. And it looks like we're okay. All right. So at any rate, everybody, glad you're here. Thanks for tuning in. And we got an important topic today. And that topic is, so what are you afraid of? You know, one of the things that I think that has happened, same but no problem, we can hear you. How is that coming through the same? I I don't get that because my meters here are looking like it's okay. And I'm up here on system preferences for input. And it looks like I'm all right. That's weird. It looks like it's going through the mic. So, snowing in Ohio, Kevin. I saw that there's snow in Indianapolis today. Some friends of mine were posting snow when they woke up this morning. So that's pretty crazy. All right, so let's talk about it, and then we'll figure this out. Many of you are on a call with me at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern coming up. So I'll make sure I've got it ready to go by then. But the question is, so what are we afraid of? And one of the challenges in any time, it doesn't have to be a pandemic, it could be any time, is that there's so much out there that's challenging. Look, there have been some dramatic changes in a relatively short period of time. Man, I love reading historical books, and it's kind of fascinating how little the world changed for so long. If you lived in the 1300s, it probably wasn't a whole lot different than if you lived in the 1100s. There wasn't much difference in quality of life over that 200-year period. Yet we look at how different it's been in the last 20 years, and it's absolutely incredible. If you lived 500 years before the time of Christ, your lifestyle probably wasn't much different if you lived in the time of Christ. 500 years, there wasn't much change. Yet in 5 years, we see incredible change. So the question becomes, how do we deal with the change when, as a human race, we're at a faster pace than it's ever been? Think about this for a moment. Right now, this instant is the slowest pace of change you'll see for the rest of your life. Because change is going to continue. So when I say, what are you afraid of? What challenges your thinking right now? What concerns you about you and your business? I'm going to suggest to you that you could probably point out some very specific things. I mean, in some businesses, it's what if Amazon comes into our field? For other businesses, it might be, what if my competitor cuts their price? And it might be, I own a restaurant. What if the restrictions go on, for another 6 months? There are very specific things that could happen. Yet I think for most of us is we say that if we really drill down into it, it's the unknown. It's the unknown. You've probably heard me tell the story of Christopher Columbus when he sailed out in the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. They looked at the maps that the cartographers, the map makers of ancient times had created. And, it's really amazing when you look at it because the cartographers were unbelievably accurate in the maps of the known world. But in the uncharted water, in the area in which they thought no person had sailed before, there were typically pictures of dragons on the ancient maps. And they would put, beyond this, there be dragons. See, back when they thought the world was flat, and back when they thought you were sailing into the unknown, it wasn't sailing that scared them. They knew how to do that. It wasn't this area of the world that had been discovered that scared them. They knew what a part of the world existed. What was scary was the uncharted water, the area in which no person had ever sailed before. And I want to suggest to you that's part of our challenge in a pandemic is we look at the history books and we see how a pandemic was dealt with back in the early 1900s, but none of us experienced that. Excuse me. We look and we see, but we didn't live through that. And you get a vaccine that's created in such a short period of time, shortest ever. That's scary to some folks. Because not the vaccine, the unknown. Is it where we tend to be, I don't want to say afraid because that sounds so negative, but we tend to be concerned. Is that a better word? We tend to be most concerned about the unknown. My friend Dan Burris has a great way of looking at it. He says you can kind of make it into a matrix, right? There are unknown knowns. In other words, things that are known, it's just that we don't know that yet, right? It's an unknown known. And when we learn it, we can be more certain it's something that's already known. It's just that we don't know it yet. That's an unknown known. And there are known unknowns. A known unknown is something that hasn't been discovered yet. We know we don't know the answer. I mean, there's a million things we could bring up, but you could even say, is there life on other planets? Well, we know we don't know for certain. It's a known unknown. There are certain things we know we don't know. There are known knowns. It's a fact, it's out there, it's known, and we know it. But he said the worst part is when we get to the unknown unknowns. In other words, there's not an answer, and we don't even know about it. It's kind of like the areas that we're clueless. So what happens in that? What do? Well, we tend to get very afraid. We get nervous. We try to insert solutions where solutions haven't been created. We try to figure this out in ways that are challenging. And what I want to suggest to you is a couple of things. Number one, when we think about what we're most concerned about, what scares us, what bothers us, what might be challenging for us in the future, I want to suggest that one of the most important things that we can do is to eliminate as much of the unknown as possible. Now, look, we don't know how the pandemic is going to play out. We don't know how long it's going to take for vaccines to get here. We don't know what the future is going to be in that area. I get that. But what can you do to eliminate? What planning could you do? What could you do that would eliminate some of the unknown? Yeah, you're right, Jerry. I just finished that book on FDR, on the first 100 days of the FDR administration. I wrote an entire book about 100 days. It was really fascinating. And we have nothing to fear except fear itself. And that was one of the challenges in that time of depression is it wasn't just the economy. It was the fact that people were putting money under the mattresses because they trusted the mattress more than the bank, because they were afraid. And as long as that might have been the right decision momentarily for that individual, but you spread it throughout a country, and the fear was what was killing the economy as much as the economic situation. It's absolutely right. It's good words to remember. And part of how we escape that fear is we try to control the knowns as much as we can. Second thing is this, to realize that it is the unknown that is bothering us. So what can we do to take control of the situation? For example, if I'm a restaurant right now, I can complain and I can moan about the restrictions. And it varies from state to state. Wherever you're watching in the world, it might be different where you are than where I am. But we can complain about that. I would tend to do what friends of mine with an Italian restaurant, Gaetano's here in Las Vegas, are doing. They're getting more aggressive with their marketing. They're sending out more emails. They're having special nights. Maybe we can only get 25% of the people in, so let's make sure you come in on a Wednesday night for a special wine dinner and a special menu, so that, the problem isn't just that we only get 25% capacity on the weekends where we normally get 100. The problem is nobody wants to go out on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And so how do we have you socially distance and take care of everything, but get you to come during the week? Let's have special events. So they're planning special events. You ought to see it. It's incredible. Wine dinners and special things going on. And they're getting more active and more engaged with their customers. Now, we could all make the argument, of course, they should have done that all along. Look, one of the things that the folks that work with me will tell you is one of the things I keep repeating is I cannot change the past. I can only change the future. We can dwell too much on mistakes we've made previously to the point that we just get frustrated and depressed and we don't take any action for the future. Hey, it's so easy right now to get so overwhelmed that we don't do what it takes to move forward. I can't change the past. You can't change the past. You and I cannot change from the situation that's going on right now. All we can do is keep our hands on the wheel for what we can control for the future. So it's reaching out more to customers. It's creating new products and services that might serve them in this changing time. It's eliminating as much of the unknown as we possibly can. Jerry's exactly right. Uncertainty drives fear, and he takes it a step further. Not just fear, paranoia. Not Jerry. I think you're exactly right. It's paralysis by analysis. See, we worry too much about should we do this, should we not do that. One of the things that from what I'm reading now about advancement and that some of the things that the real innovators do, and this gets back to the Roosevelt book I was mentioning earlier. There's a bunch of things that we don't talk about that Roosevelt threw out there that failed. But his whole thing is, let's just do something. In the depths of the Depression, if we're wrong, we'll learn, we'll change it, we'll fix it, we'll move forward. I think so many political figures now don't want to try anything because of the criticism from the other side, regardless of what side you're on. There are people now that I promise you, if a liberal Democrat came up with the best idea in the world about something for government, it gets shot down by the other side, regardless of the quality of the idea, and vice versa. I'm not picking on one side or the other. Well, they couldn't have a good idea. Look what they're on the other side. And that was one of the things that struck me about the Roosevelt book was, hey, he said, let's do something, even if it's wrong. If it's wrong, we'll fix it, we'll correct it, we'll learn from it, we'll move on. And I see too many folks doing exactly what Jerry says here, paralysis by analysis, and therefore we don't do anything. And then the fear and the uncertainty builds. Tony Robbins said it, and I agree with it. I don't agree with everything Tony Robbins says, but I sure agree with this. Motion creates emotion. If you're not moving, and he's talking about physically, if you're not moving, it enhances the chances that you're going to get depressed. I think it's true in organizations. If our business, if our organization isn't moving and doing something, the chance is it will decline and depress. So I'm not saying that your fears, when I ask you, what are you afraid of? Please don't misunderstand. I'm certainly not saying that that's irrational. In fact, it probably is very rational. But we can't change the past. We can only change the future. And the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? What action will you take? What steps will you work towards that's going to create the motion that enhances the emotion that you have and the message that you bring to customers? Brian, we need to keep pushing the envelope or we'll be uncomfortable in the norm, living in the uncomfort. Yes. And if change, Brian, piggyback on that, I think you're exactly right. If we recognize and believe, and I don't know how it's to be questioned, but if we recognize and believe that change, A, that change is a constant, and B, the pace of change will continue to accelerate, then we don't have much choice about discomfort. We're going to be uncomfortable. And so for lack of a better term, getting comfortable with discomfort is one of the most important things we could do. Look, we don't want to change. And I hear so much from folks that say, boy, when things get back to normal, folks, they're never going to get back to the way that they used to be, not 100%. So wishing that is like wishing we all had horses instead of cars. It's not going to go back to that way. So getting comfortable with your discomfort and regardless of your fears, taking some kind of action, that's what's going to make you distinctive in the marketplace. In a marketplace that truly needs you to step up and stand out. Hey, for those of you who are part of the Distinction Builders group, I'll see you at the top of the hour. I'm really looking forward to our conversation coming up at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. And if you're not a part of that, I'll look forward to catching up with you very, very soon. And snow in Indy. I saw a couple of posts. My pal I used to work with at Wish TV, Ken Owen, posted the snow on there, and it is there. Thanks, I appreciate that. Hey, and by the way, want to let you know, I will have a big announcement coming up in the next couple of days, but we are going to do the program on distinctive story, and it is coming up 2 weeks from today. So save the date, December 30, isn't it? Yeah. So we are going to be talking about how to create a distinctive story The website is being worked on now, and I promise you we're going to have that coming up. Craig, there's a dusting of snow even in Little Rock. Holy cow! There's my awesome friend Joe. I don't know where I'm going from here, but it won't be boring. I love that promise. That's the coolest. That is the coolest. And we'll have the time and everything. It's going to be on the 30th. We're going to be starting. I don't have it in front of me. We locked in the time, but I'd hate to tell you, but it's a 5-hour program. So I think it's like what would that be? Noon to 5 Eastern, Indianapolis time, 8 to 1 Pacific time. So that'll all be posted. The website's going up, and all that is happening very shortly. So I'll have more on that for you tomorrow. I just want to make sure you save the date. All right. Hey, everybody, thanks so much. And what we're going to go through is everything about constructing and communicating a compelling, distinctive story. And we're going to look at, what I learned from the interviews I did with James Cameron, that wrote Titanic and Avatar, and Robert Zemeckis of Back to the Future and Forrest Gump, and Meryl Streep and John Travolta and Tom Hanks, and what I learned from that, and what I've learned from corporate stories and telling stories myself for many years on the platform. So but there is a science to this. There's a specific formula that's going to help make your stories much more compelling and powerful. So hope to have you there for that. I appreciate that, Ann. Thank you. All the details coming up very soon. Hey, thanks, everybody. If you're in the Distinction Builders, I'll see you at the top of the hour. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow right here. Hope you join me again for Daily Distinction. Make your plans of what you're going to do to overcome the fear of the unknown. Talk to you tomorrow.